doing? Nice to see you all. So we've got Claire, Vicky, Danny, and we've got John coming on as well, and Amanda. So thank you so much to you all for signing up for the webinar series, and thanks for tuning in tonight. So this is the first of a series of 10 webinars that we will be running with our friends at Sudamerica Coaching. Tonight we are very, very lucky to have the head honcho of Sudamerica Coaching, Mr. Juan Gonzalez Mendia, or to Manx people, Juan. So a big welcome to Juan. Give us a wave if you can hear me, guys. Brilliant. Danny and Claire can hear me. I can't see Amanda and Vicky yet. They're muted and haven't got their cameras on, so I don't know if they're able to see us. We're going to mute you. We're waiting, I think, for John Whiting to kick in as well. So, yeah, tonight is the first of a series of 10. We're very lucky. We've got Juan for our first two before Christmas, and our third and fourth after Christmas. And then we'll be kicking off with a lot of our other guests. We've got 6 fantastic speakers in store for you. So I'll let Juan give you a little bit of background about them, because he's working with these people all the time. He's got very good knowledge of their presentations and the fantastic information that they're going to get across to you guys. So John's now got his video on. Brilliant. Hey, John, hope you're well. Give us a wave if you can hear us, John. Super. Vicky and Amanda, I don't know if you put your cameras on so we can see if you can hear us or not. Clicking in and clicking out a bit. So we'll just crack straight on for those guys, at least who we know are definitely on, and we'll try and get away from the other guys as we go through the night. So Juan, over to you, mate. Thank you very much for pulling all these brilliant speakers together, and we're really excited to hear from you tonight. Over to you, buddy.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Thanks, everyone. So good to meet you, see you in some sort of way. I think a couple of people are having trouble to log in, so I'll leave you, Trev, with the admission of people. So people are jumping on and off, so that means that they're struggling a little bit, I think. But yeah, I mean, really good to be here. Thank you so much. Thanks for the trust. Thanks for coming on board. We currently have a number of programs around the world that are running, but I'm really, really excited about the lineup we got for this one. We were just having a conversation with Joe before we started. Hands down, if I would have to put a conference tomorrow, these people would be, I mean, my first to go for sure. There's loads of experience. I think you are in for a treat. Years and years and years, and some great organizations behind them as well. Some of them leading those organizations. I think the downside is that you have to put up with me for the first couple. So hopefully I'll manage to keep you engaged until Sergio kicks us off in February. Sergio currently runs iCoach Kicks, which I really encourage you to go and check out. There's loads of free online bits that you can access to. It's in a bunch of languages as well. We have Amy coming after that. Amy Price, again, hands down leader in terms of video games design. We call it gamification, just to annoy her a little bit. I don't tell her. And I'm sure you've heard of her. She's leading the research field from Edinburgh University. She's doing some great stuff in those areas. She's also the FA development manager, coaching manager in England. We've got Stuart Armstrong. I'm sure most of you will be familiar with his work. He's also the host of the Talent Equation Pod, which again I highly recommend. And he is the head of coaching, if I'm not mistaken, at England Sport. We've got, who else have we got? We've got Sarah Kelleher. We're going to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day with Sarah, so we had to bring in an Irish. Sarah's been around the development pathway and the performance pathway for GB Hockey and England Hockey for a number of years now, and her research and her work and her delivery around flourishing within coaching. She talks a lot about self-expression. She talks a lot about creativity. It's absolutely fantastic. The stuff she does with Lego is absolutely fascinating. So really privileged again to have someone like her. And we got Dr. Suzanne Brown, sports psychologist, or she's a clinical psychologist. She works in sports. She's been around Arsenal quite a bit and a few other organizations, some big names as well. And she'll be talking us through bits that got to do with mental health. And then Dr. Learning, how I call him, Richard Cheatham, Dr. Richard Cheatham. He's gonna be talking us through learning about learning and a few other bits. Really looking forward to his sessions every time we have him on board. So as I said, we've got a number of these around the world. Really happy to be working so closely with Isle of Man. We had actually a residential conference all planned out after, well, just before COVID hit. And hopefully we'll be able to put that on next year, Trevor, whilst you're having your dinner at the same time. Fantastic. So yeah, I think we'll jump straight into it. Again, Trevor, if you can manage the chat and the participants window, that'll be fantastic. So the idea of these gatherings, of these meetings, I'm not quite sure what to call them. It's just have a conversation about things, yeah, and I'm sure there's lots of experience in the room. So hopefully jump on board with the conversation. If you give me, because I'm sure most of you will know each other, so the quick intro about yourselves, what sports you are with, or you spend most of your time with, and then we'll take it from there, really. So again, really chuffed to be here. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen with you. The idea of tonight is to set the bar around anything to do with learning environments, everything to do with participant-centered environments, which is or player-centered environment, which is a term we throw around a lot, and there's lots of conversation around it. Yes, lots of authors talking about it as well. For sure, all the people that are on the program as guest speakers, they'll be their environments will be around player center, participant center. They definitely have to do with learning, and they will most certainly have to do with development as well. So, anyone knows that lady there? Go on, somebody open the conversation. Someone tee us off. Open your mic, Trev. Open your mic.
Yeah, good man. I think we might need to unmute everyone else as well. There we go.
You've got it. You've got it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Danny can't unmute.
There you go. You should have the option now. It was just a missing tick there. Danny, do you know that lady?
I don't.
You don't know that lady. Danny, what's your main sport, mate?
I've got two sports, rugby and sailing.
All right.
So I'm a rugby coach with both Ramsey Rugby Club and Sail Sharks DPP.
Okay.
And Manx Sailing and Cruising Club, I'm a chief instructor.
Brilliant, brilliant. Two very different sports, I must say. Very, very different. Fantastic. Well, great to have you on board. Well, that's Maya Angelou, activist. Yeah, she's been a poet, she's been a writer, she's been a song singer writer as well. First woman in history to drive, first African American woman to drive tram in America, I believe. A fascinating life, author of one of the best books I've ever read in my life. Why does the incarcerated bird sings? Absolutely fascinating. If you're looking for a book, go for it, because it's just, I mean, it's got very little to do with sports, but it's got a lot to do with many other things. So in a nutshell, I think that sort of resumes my coaching philosophy very, very well. Yeah, I'm always inviting people to reflect around the schooling experience. Yeah, and where were the subjects, where were the classrooms that you really wanted to go, and why you wanted to go to them. I would be prepared to bet quite a bit that those experiences had to do with how people were making you feel, what sort of environment were those teachers presenting to yourself, and obviously that's translatable to loads of different environments. One of them being sports as well. So I love the phrase. I use it all the time, and yeah, I think it's got a lot to do with what we're trying to do, regardless of the sports we are coaching. I also like to start with that golden circle. Yeah, that's from Derek Sivers, which, by the way, I keep forgetting. Every time we finish a conversation, within something like 24 hours or so, you're going to get an email with the conversation that is being recorded. And obviously, we'll come up with a way of sharing that with Trevor, and we'll let you know. But if you sign up, obviously you sign up once for all 10 of them, and you'll get an email with the conversation. That email will also have a bunch of resources, different authors that we've sort of mentioned throughout the conversation, different YouTube talks, TED Talks, different resources. So hopefully we'll be able to share all that. This is probably quite relevant. It is most likely that email is going to go to your spam folder, because it comes from MailChimp, and it will go to about 20 people that sign up for this. So it is most likely that it's going to be going there. So keep an eye on spam. It's likely to be there. If you can't find it anywhere, just get in touch and we'll make sure that gets to you. So among those resources that you're going to get on your first email, is going to be a TED Talk from Derek Sivers. I'm guessing some of you must have watched that before, where he talks about the golden circle. Why do we start with why? And lots of the organizations that I'm lucky enough to work with and to try to support their development, they got really, really clear their what. Okay, so what are they trying to achieve in terms of their infrastructure, in terms of the amount of participants around the style of play, you name it, they got it, they've nailed it, they know the what really well. Some of them have had some conversations around the how, so how we're going to achieve what we're trying to do. But very, very few of them have actually gone back to the why of what they're doing. Okay. And it happens all the time. We lose sight really, really quickly. So I think this TED Talk from Derek Sivers would be a really good sort of way to start that conversation in your organizations and see, well, what sort of things are there? Are we reflecting our why? Is our why a changing why? Is it always going to be the same? And obviously anything around it, I think that would be really cool. So very quickly, so Trevor asked me to sort of say a little bit about myself. I'm not great at it. I've got to confess and come clean. I think I'm better talking about my coaching philosophy than my experience and what I've coached or I haven't coached. I think those are the three pillars that are sustaining the foundation of my coaching philosophy nowadays. It's definitely got to do with learning and trying to exchange learning and information. Hence why I'm so chuffed, so enthusiastic about the fact that we're having these 10 meetings for the next couple of months. It's got to definitely do with getting to know myself, yeah, and see where I'm at. Yeah, I'm sure most of you have done some sort of personality profile test in the last couple of years, either around your coaching or around your jobs or whatever it is. And there's lots of different models around there, yeah. So you got models that have colors, models that have different hats, different charts, and I'm sure you've come across some of these before, so I'm very conscious about trying to get to know myself as much as I can, and hence trying to get to know the people that I'm spending time with and I'm sharing environments with. And I'm a big critical thinker. Yeah, I get called random things like a maverick and stuff like that quite often, which I'm not entirely what that means, but I'm always asking why. I'm always trying to get to the why of things, like I was saying a minute ago. Yeah, just trying to see why we actually do what we do. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things in education and sports that go hand in hand. They've been there for a bunch of years, and for some of them, I'm not quite sure that we know why we do them. Yeah, and there's a coach, there's an Irish coach. He's been in Sweden for a number of years. His name is Mark O'Sullivan. He's got lots of followers on social media and stuff, so I will encourage you to go follow him. He's got a fantastic blog. His main sport is soccer, is football. He talks about this sort of resilient cultural, I don't know how to call it, traditions that we got in sports and education, yeah, and why and how it's so hard to try to evolve from this. And they're always there. They're always lying around, and they got to do with different processes now in sports and education, which has always been there. So I would say, yeah, critical thinking is at the root of most things that I try to do. Not just to criticize for the sake of doing it, just to try to find some reason around what we try to do. Right. So we'll get the conversation going. It's always good for you people that are in education. It's always good to get a video 10 minutes into the conversation, and so we'll get a little clip in there. Feel free to open your mics, yeah, and or use the chat. Entirely up to you. What do you guys notice? And that would be a question I use a lot in my coaching. What do you guys notice around this clip there? Oops. Try again.
Everyone using the stairs, I guess.
Yeah.
Not the stairs. Everyone using the escalator, not the stairs.
I love this clip. I've seen it before. It's really fun. It's really, if it's the one I think it is. Yes, it is.
What else you notice?
I think the dogs like it as well.
He's loving it. She's certainly loving that. I think she's still there, actually. Cool. So lots of resources on that website. Lots of resources to you with your players as well. There's a couple of comments in the chat. Trevor is not noticing the chat, obviously, so I'm gonna go. I'm
just drinking some water as well.
Cool.
So yeah, from Ben, all those people messing about, they're not waiting to be told what to do. They're just getting on with it, aren't they?
Interesting. Interesting. What else? What else you notice? What else? I'm going to pull one back. So we're not a dark, a black screen. There we go. What else? What else you reckon? What else you notice? What caught your
Well, I
eye?
mean, before they laid down the musical steps, everyone on the escalator was staring off into the distance and totally disengaged.
There you go. There you go. Good stuff. What would have been easier, you think? So obviously the purpose of the experience was to get people active and get to use the staircase and stuff. What would have been easier than going through all that trouble of getting the piano there?
Take away the
Taking the
escalator.
escalator off.
There you go. Take the escalator off. Get a lift for the people that need a lift, and then that's pretty much it. Everybody else is on the staircase. But I think the key word of the question and the experience is choice, isn't it? So how do we get people to actually choose to use the escalator? And I'm going to tell you a little experience that I do with my daughter most evenings. So I would tell my daughter, Catalina is her name, she's just turned 4. And I would say, Cata, we'd like to go to bed now. We'd like to go to bed in 15 minutes. Guess what? Every single day she chooses in 15 minutes. She hasn't worked it out yet, okay? But why is she a little bit happier when it's time to go to bed? Well, because she's part of the process. And it was her option, okay? So I think Suzanne is the person to go to that we're going to have in a couple of months, Suzanne Brown. She talked a lot about choice and how is that a really powerful tool to dial up behavior. And she will sort of point out when she's working with coaches. I've been fortunate enough to work with her. And she's always pointing it out. Yeah, could you have turned that into a choice? And most times when we're coaching, we can turn things into a choice. Sorry, but it's a lot easier just to, like Ben was saying on the chat, perhaps to tell people what to do. Cool, good stuff. Anything else you've noticed? Have a look at this one. Have a look at this. So obviously the people going up those stairs with the piano having a lot of fun. Yeah, and we talk about fun a lot in sports. We talk a lot about fun in our environments. I would assume, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that if I would have given you, again, the choice of choosing 3 or 4 words that define your environment, I'm sure fun would have made the cut with lots of other options. But I tend to ask that question quite a lot, and fun comes in a lot. So this is a study that is called Fun Maps. Which it's got a proper empirical name, but this is how it got a little bit viral and it's quite popular around the world. Dr. Amanda Vesic and Heather Mannix, which again really fortunate enough to be working with through USA Hockey, that is USA Ice Hockey. Yeah? They put together this research. It's about 5 years old now. They're on the 3rd stage of the actual research. And basically, how the research started was they asked about 8,000 children between the ages of 8 and 16 about what they find fun when they were practicing sports. They came up with those, I think it's 83, 84 descriptors that you can see in your screens, and they grouped them up. Yeah, they grouped them up on those 11 categories over there. Okay. Which one is the biggest? Which one is the biggest? Which one is the one with the most descriptors in it? Sorry to ask an obvious question.
Yeah, positive coaching.
There you go. Okay. Sorry to make it so redundant, but it is. Okay, and that's where we come in. Okay, so the biggest area that we have the biggest influence in that study had to do with us coaches. Okay, and there's lots of bits over there. I'm going to send you a resource with Amanda going through her research. It's about an hour long. It's quite deep. It's got a lot of detail in it, which is fantastic. Really encourage you to go and have a look at it. as I mentioned before, they're on the third stage of the research process, and they're actually comparing what we adults think is fun for children when they're practicing sports. Okay, and they've come a long way in terms of data, in terms of sampling, and yeah, for many years we sort of assumed if we try to live within a fun environment, people were going to come back and they were going to learn something and they want to be part of that environment. And now we got actual empirical scientific evidence that actually confirms that. Okay, or is on the way to try to confirm that. Cool. Anything on this? Anything you guys want to jump in?
I mean, it's quite interesting. That's within the context of children and young people, but even when working with adults, it carries over there as well, doesn't it? They're still looking for much of the same things from you as a coach in order to keep your session engaging and exciting and interesting.
100%, and I do mention the ages on purpose every time I show this slide, because who's worked with adults? Just quickly show hands, so give me a wave. Who's working with adult school? Have you guys got any adults that have been children before?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just wondering. I'm just wondering. I've been cynical.
I got three that play hockey.
There you
go.
go.
They're all adults now, and I've had to put up with them all the way since they were naught.
Brilliant. So yeah, I mean, we come from somewhere, and I think, I mean, if you look at successful environments around sports in the world, I think people are having a lot of fun. They're learning loads and they're developing loads. I mean, you can choose. I think you can choose any category. I think you choose any sports, and they will be having a good time when they're spending time with each other. So choose the All Blacks. I mean, just go on the social media from the All Blacks. They're having a giggle. They're having a good time all the time. I would assume, I know very, very little about it, but if you pick up on the New Zealand regatta team that goes into the Americans Cup, they will most likely be having a good time when they're on that boat. I would have thought somebody like the GB team, that netball team that went on to win the Olympic medal. I'm sure that they will be having a good time when they're in camp with that together. And I think we can pick examples in every single sport. Cool. I think we sort of mentioned that without mentioning it really. So I think what we want to see in other people is a good trigger of how our environment is going to look like. I'm going to show you a couple of environments that I find really cool. I was fortunate enough to spend some time in this environment over there. Claire, what's the first thing that comes to your head, Claire, when you see that photo? If you can open your mic, that'd be awesome.
Colour.
Say that again, sorry?
Well, it's really colourful, isn't it?
Very colourful. There you go. Yeah, it's really colourful, yeah. What do you think it is? Just out of interest.
But a classroom, maybe?
Okay, cool. Are you in education, Claire?
No, but I've got small children.
That's a small children, there you go. And you're in netball, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's your thing. Good stuff. Yeah, really colourful, children orientated, cool. What makes you think it's a children environment?
The green dog.
The green dog over there.
For me, it's the chairs.
Yeah, they're all very small, aren't they? You look at the size of everything, and against the fire extinguishers, that you realise it is small people. Good
stuff. Good clinical eye. I've actually never noticed. I've seen this photo 1,000 times. I never noticed the fire extinguisher. Good stuff. That's a good reference of size. Is that a dog or is that a horse? I don't know.
That's a dog. Horse's tails go downwards. It's got to be a dog.
Oh, there you go. You got the tail on. Good stuff. Yeah, it's a classroom. Claire got it nailed on. It's a classroom in Finland, where I've had the opportunity of spending a couple of days. I was meant to go back in November. Coldest place in the world, a couple of hours north of Helsinki. I thought my skiing was going to fall off. It was minus 18 at one point. But anyway, spent a couple of days there, really fascinating. I'm going to send you a resource on your email. And it's a documentary, it's a 12, 13-minute documentary from Michael Moore, a really sort of influential, let's call him, a director from America. He's directed things like Bowling for Columbine and Super Size Me, where one of the producers has, I think, 30 days of McDonald's, like every single meal, and then they compare all the blood tests and all the. I mean, it's just shocking to watch. Anyway, Aaron, again, really controversial guy, and he compares the Finnish educational system with the American, and it's just mind-blowing. I mean, 30 minutes, put it on your car, put it on your headphones when you're jogging around, or spend 15 minutes in front of your computer or your TV or whatever. Absolutely unreal. And it's all about, they didn't mention in the documentary, but I was fortunate enough, as I said, to spend a couple of days there, and they told me through the main 4 areas of the classroom. One of them is going to be with a research area. One of them is going to be with a reflection area. The third one is to do with collaboration. Okay, and the fourth one is going to do with anything to do with the facilitator. Okay, so they don't call them teachers, they don't call them coaches, they call them facilitators. They are facilitating learning, facilitating an environment for others to flourish, learn, develop, etc. Absolutely fascinating. So different, so different. First time in my life, I've spent about 17 years now in education, that I haven't seen children desperate to go out for break time. Okay, so they don't actually have a bell. They can all tell the time, so they know when it's break time. And the majority of the class, I would say, they were so engaged in the task that they sort of lost track of time and they carried on doing what they were doing. And they just moved break time a little bit. So they took their break time a little bit later. It took them about 10 minutes to get dressed. It took them about 10 minutes to get undressed coming from outside. But absolutely unreal. I mean, I could spend hours talking about that photo there. But yeah, a fascinating place. Have a look at that documentary, and then I'm going to sell you because it's just shocking, really.
So I've got my extra friend here you just saw.
Come on, John.
No, my dog just walked in and licked my head and walked back out. He's he's enjoying the environment.
Brilliant. He's obviously loving the environment. You are facilitating his development in his licking skills. Brilliant. Yeah, some of you will know that finish up ranked up there. There's loads of these things going around the internet. A very sad comparison, really, a terrible comparison, what I'm going to give you now in terms of numbers. But less than 20 years ago, the Finn used to have the highest numbers in terms of teenagers deciding to end their own life, and it's less than 20 years ago. So they obviously done something quite radical around their education, because obviously people love, the majority of people will love to spend some time in the schools. Okay. Couple more environments there. Been fortunate enough to do some bits with Google here in the UK, in America, and in Singapore. I'm going to use a bad word. I'm going to risk it. Why do you think associates, like they call them in Google, have on their desk, on their areas, on their wallets, on their ID cards, a little card, that is a fuck up card? Why do you think they got access to something like that? Sorry about the bad word. I apologize.
Because you're allowed to play it with no consequences.
There you go. Okay, so you're allowed to explore, you're allowed to discover it. They actually want you to make mistakes, to fail at things. Yeah, because they encourage you all the time to, like that little hand did a minute ago, sort of wipe it all out and start again. Okay. And I'm sure we're all sort of aware of how people get things done at Google. I'm sure we've all watched the movie as well. And it's just fascinating seeing people in those environments and trying to, I mean, creativity is probably the main buzz around in the environment, that people are trying to get up and get new ideas all the time. Belgian football, really interesting. Who follows a little bit of football? Who likes the round ball? Ben over there. Ben, do you remember how they get on the last World Cup?
Ajax. Sorry, Holland.
No, Ajax. Belgium soccer.
Wales
Yeah.
beat them in the last
Semi-finals,
European
was it?
Championships.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember
So,
that?
Semi-final. Went
Yes,
for
they
the
got
third
it,
place. Won
Yeah,
the third.
Germany and France played the final, didn't they?
There you go. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Nice.
So Belgium was 63 in the world ranking in 2002, 2003. 63. A month before the last World Cup, they were ranked number 1. Okay? So they obviously done something in their soccer that has changed how they develop players. Now, again, fortunate enough to spend some time over there. If you walk into a football club on a Sunday morning, you will see about 80-something kids playing in a soccer pitch. They're playing 2v2. Everybody's a goalkeeper. Everybody's a field player, yeah, and they're swapping around all the time. Okay, and everybody's playing against everyone. They play mixed soccer until the age of 13, I think, as in girls and boys. And they took the development pathway and they said, okay, well, it doesn't have to look like what we see on TV. It doesn't have to look 11v11, 1-1 or 2-1 or whatever. Why can it not be different? Why can we not play in a smaller area with lots of touches on the ball and finish a game 14-13? And hopefully some of those goals have actually been scoring the right goals. Okay, so they've actually tried to develop their pathway, which is fascinating. Again, jump on the website, have a look at it. Every age group has different rules. Every age group has a game that develops onto the next stage. They've got transitional year groups. Okay, so as soon as you start your under 11, you don't have to be playing the under 11 rules. You can still be playing under 10 rules. Okay, some people can move on halfway through the year to the next year group because they are early developers or for whatever that is. Okay, so really, really fascinating. That's Ajax over there. They call this the playground. I think if you start counting different sports, I think you get to over 10 for sure. Professional sportsmen in this case, earning loads of euros a year. Again, it would have been a lot easier just to tell people what to do, and they go and do it. They try to alter the environment to generate some behaviors on those players, on that people. So really cool. I love this phrase. So another fellow Dutch, I love that phrase. Someone tell me something about that phrase that comes to your head. What do you think? What are you thinking?
I think unfortunately the reverse is often true in education.
Why do you think that is, Louise?
Probably because for some people the direct approach is just to go straight to the child and try and fix them rather than think or spend the time to look at the bigger picture and think outside the box.
Yeah.
And when you're in a classroom or in an environment, sometimes there's not so much you can do about the environment. And perhaps other children there are flowering. So
I agree.
Simpler to try and fix the child than to try and change the environment. It's the easy option, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think it's time related? Because you did mention that in your reflection. Do you think people are short of time and they just want to?
Oh, of course. Yeah,
cut
short
the cake?
time, resources.
Have you guys ever met a coach with loads of times? Have you ever met someone that goes, "Oh, I've got too much time. I don't know what to do. I just spend my day just never, isn't it? Everybody's in a hurry. Everybody's got deadlines. Everybody's got the next Commonwealth or the next games or the next what it is. I'm running out of time." I think it obviously goes down to what we do with that time. It's an environment that is player center, learning center, developmental center, in that order with the person up front, and at the middle of everything. Going to take longer time? I would think so. Yes, it's going to take a much longer time, I would have thought. But then it goes down to what's our success criteria and what we're trying to do. Thanks, Luis. Sorry, I didn't ask you what's your sport. Who do you hang out with most?
In the day, my day job's personal trainer, but I coach disabled children horse riding, and I'm with the local triathlon club.
Fantastic, brilliant, great to have you here. Thanks for jumping in. That's awesome. Cool. Why do you think we're watching this? Have a look at this golfer. I know there's lots of golf in the Isle of Man. My golf is not very good, but I do try hard.
Cool. フォームって妙にコンパクトですよね。だな。なんでだろう。
Cool, there you got it. I think hats off to the director of that little clip, because I think he nailed that advertising campaign. But anyway, regardless, what do you reckon? Well,
I didn't see the clip. What have I done wrong?
You didn't see the clip. Can you see it now?
I can see you, right, and I can't see it. I see a picture of you, not the clip.
So
I can see the clip.
Have a look at your viewing options, John. I think you need to play around with the either gallery or speaker's view and stuff like that. Have you got two screens by any chance?
No, I've only got one.
You only got one. Are you on your phone or your MacBook, your laptop?
iPad.
You're on your iPad. Try to change different screens and see what happens. You've reversed the camera there. We'll leave you to explore it. We'll leave you to explore it.
Okay, yeah, crack on. I'll find myself.
There you go. Can't then somebody tell John something about that clip that he couldn't watch it?
Basically, John, there's a golfer doing a very unorthodox swing at the golf course. He's got two guys watching him, and they're wondering why on earth has he got this really closed-in, tight swing where he's not using any range or anything. So we then go to a clip where he's at his house. He's in his little apartment, and he's on a little balcony. On the balcony, he's practicing his golf swing, so he's got absolutely no space whatsoever. And he's trying to nail it.
Okay, the dog's back.
There you go. That's a lovely carpet, by the way, John.
Yeah, I know. It's clean today, I tell you.
You've definitely been hoovering. You've definitely been hoovering. Good man. Cool. So, all right. So how come 7:45 on a Thursday evening, Isle of Man coaches, this bloke with a strange accent in England? Why are we having a conversation? Why are we looking at this Japanese unorthodox swing? What do you reckon?
Well, does he get results?
Well, I mean, he had a decent shot, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, from Trevor's sort of. Sorry, go on, Danny. Go on.
I was going to say, why jump on it and try and make him conform to the norm if he actually achieves what is required, and
Well, he's shown fantastic creativity there, hasn't he? To find a way, hasn't he? Under all the constraints placed upon him, he's found a way.
Yeah, 100%.
Quite often we can put our own. We always want to try and be really prescriptive about certain techniques, and sometimes it's the Mavericks who do it in a different way, who actually come up with something that's really innovative.
Yeah, cool.
like the Frosbury flop.
Absolutely, great example.
There you go. There you go. Great example. Great example. Do you think our fellow golfer has actually adapted to the environment? Is he too trapped in his balcony? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a product of his environment, isn't he? Whether he had a different environment, would he have got to the same results? No, but
yeah, cool. And look, I might lose you. I might lose you for the next 3 months on my next bombshell. But and again, obviously, I've never seen you coach, so but I wouldn't dare to think you guys are in this category. But there's a high number of coaches I've worked with, a high number of environments that I've been invited to, where the biggest limiting factor is actually the coach and how he's laying out his environment. Actually, one of the most limiting factor tools, in my opinion, are cones, because they just prescribe people where they're going to run to and what they're going to do, and there's a certain way of doing things. And look, I'm not going to jump into the cones and try to ruin people's businesses that are selling cones, but I think there's lots of other ways that we could be using them, and we could be using them for lots more things than just limiting. What we normally do is limitate space. And I understand it's going to do with safety. Of course, I understand that. But I've seen loads of layout drills where people are meant to run from A to B, from blue to red, etc. And again, I'm sure you're not doing anything like that, but I see it quite often, which I think is very preoccupating, because obviously in a game you wouldn't have those cones. And at the end of the day, we're just laying out one solution, and that's the solution that we're gonna try to take away from that. So, anything else on our golf and limiting environments, adapting, creativity, resolution, all the bits that you've been throwing in?
I mean, don't get me wrong, Juan. The limiting environment, I get I get what you're putting across. My only thing was, if somebody, and I think I see this with, I don't play golf much anymore because I have too many other things going on, but it was always a case of,
it's on camera. We'll send it to the family, don't worry.
Yeah, if you've got something that's slightly unorthodox, a lot of people try and correct it.
I agree.
And whether that is the positive thing to do or not, is that, I think that's what the point I was making.
Danny, let's have this experience with you, mate. I'm gonna have a wild guess you're not playing rugby anymore.
Well, I played a vets game about 4
There you
weeks
go. There you go. Let's take you back. Let's take you back to your golden era. Yeah. Let's say you've just attempted a Sunny Bill pass. For people that know in rugby, it's a different way of passing the ball in rugby. Don't worry too much about it. We call it offload in rugby. What would happen to you when you just broke that line, tried to attempt that against the last defender, and your teammate drops the ball? What would have been, and we're going to keep it tight, I'm the only one allowed to swear in this one. What do you think it would have happened to you, to your environment, from your coach, your feedback? What do you think would happen?
Well, I mean, the adage is, if I only knew now what I could have known then, and somebody had told me back then I would have been a much better rugby player for it. But of course, back then I would have been disappointed, and also I think the coach would have jumped down the throat of the person who had tried their creativity.
There you go. There you go. Come on, Bones, you're out. You're out. Replacement. Yeah, you just lost us the game or whatever. Yeah. But now we coach it. So now we are actually coaching that, yeah, because somebody who's an international, well-famous player is his trademark, yeah, and it's something that comes from rugby league, whatever. Yeah, but I think there's lots of examples like that in different sports. And always, every time this conversation crops up, I think it would be a really good challenge for us to try to develop the skills of the future. So the skills of the next World Cup or whatever it is. Can we create something in our environment that no one else is doing? And that's going to translate, and that's going to, people are going to start copying it and try to do it. I think it's a really good challenge. I think it puts people on the verge of trying different things. And I understand there's going to be some sort of balance between trying and accomplishing. Yeah. But again, there's only one way of learning things. It's just by doing that, isn't it? Cool. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for your thoughts, mate. Cool stuff. We'll move on. We'll move on from our golfer, mate.
I can see him now.
You're seeing that now. I'll send it to you, John. I'll send it to you, John. You can watch it with your dog later on. Look, I've been fortunate.
Yeah, my dog, he must have pushed him on the button. He pushed the button on my screen as he went past, I think. The dog's clever.
You're blaming the dog. You're blaming the dog. You're one of them.
No, he's cleverer than me as far as technology goes.
Brilliant. Look, I've been fortunate enough to work in England Rugby Pathway with the 16s and a little bit either side of that. And I think that those words keep sort of cropping up in all the environments we were. I think some cool words over there. I think there are some more that we could add to it. I don't know if anything sort of catches your eye from that. Anything you were expecting, everything you definitely see as a pillar in yours, or have you got any others? Have you got any others that you think, well, this should always be around when we're coaching, when we're at the club, when with the national setup or whatever it is?
What's interesting for me is that's relevant, going back to the earlier slide, whether we're talking about 4-year-olds or 40-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's England Rugby. That's encompassing their international team that's playing in the World Cup, men's and women's, as well as their development children who are taking part in grassroots rugby at the very start. It goes back to the 11 points that you had before about the number one for positive coaching was being respected. Yeah, and I think that comes back to that. But the level is different. Maybe the detail that comes out is different, but ultimately the environment is effectively quite consistent across the age groups.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's just applicable to people, isn't it? Regardless of your age. Ben, is it hockey your main sport?
Mine is football.
Yours is football. Okay, cool. And I've got to ask you before I forget. Are you related to Lily by any chance? Have you got a Lily in your family?
No.
You don't
Lily plays hockey for Castletown.
What's that, John?
Lily plays hockey for Castletown, but I don't think she's related to Ben.
No. There's
two Qualtrough sisters in Castletown Hockey Club.
There you go. I taught her at school. She was at boarding school.
Okay.
I was at school, yeah. Cool. I taught her Spanish. All right, cool. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, John, for the Manx update. In fact,
I'm Welsh. I'm not Manx. I'm Welsh.
Welsh. There you go.
I'm looking forward to our hammering on Saturday. Okay, I'll just put it out there. I know we're going to get hammered by England on Saturday. I can see it coming. Okay.
Mate, if I always support the underdog, so I'm definitely with you.
You need to support Wales on Saturday then, because I think England are going to steamroll us.
Best, if we're talking about environments, best singing environment and best stadium I've ever been in my life. So there you go, the Principality Stadium, awesome. Anyway, a bit of background on the bit before. That is just a part of some sort of master plan. And it's got lots of bits going different ways. I always come to the first bit of it when I'm having these sorts of conversations. And I think we sort of touch base on it around exploration, around people trying to get to the edge of the capabilities. like it says over there on the foundation of that pyramid. So, and some people I'm sure have seen this before, and there are other bits of this screenshot that you got over there. Yeah, but just to give the previous slide some background as well. I'm going to try to sort of summarize in the next couple of slides. I think that applies to my coaching a lot. Those two guys that are there to American football coaches. Again, I've been fortunate enough to collaborate with them, and yeah, I'm not quite sure whether there's a monkey behind it. It just makes me think every time I read that. It gets me because I don't get it, but I know there is something about it. I don't know if anyone wants to share anything about those two sentences that are there.
Well, I think we need to create problems for people to find solutions, don't we? So if we don't create enough problems for our athletes or our players or whatever the sport might be, then we're not adequately preparing them for an environment. And I think the more problems they can have in their toolkit, basically, that they're able to sort of deal with, and the more creative solutions they might be able to come up with, hopefully it'll have a bit more correspondence when it transfers into the field of play.
Yeah, I agree. What do you guys see in your environments beyond your coaching? Do you see more solutions being given out, or do you see more problems being given out? Is it 50-50, or what do you reckon? And remember, this is not you coaching, this is everybody else around you, yeah?
I still see lots of cones and queues of kids.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, well, it's the teachers that start it, Trev. You watch it down. Sometimes I come down in the daytime. You see the schools, and then the kids get used to it. Next, they think that's it. They think, then then you give them something that's a little less structured, and they don't know what to do. You have to take them through it very quickly, very gently.
I've never met anyone excited about queuing. Never. I've never met anyone sort of, I'm desperate to get to the back of the queue. Never.
I think it's good training for martial arts, though, because quite often the kids are getting that bored, they end up fighting with each other.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. They're tagging and pulling, and then we tell them off. Or I see people telling them off because they're not paying attention. Yeah, they're not learning from other people passing the ball in front of them. Yeah, well, I'm sure there's better ways we can do them. Great point, John. I'm feeling I cut you off, John. Sorry, I jumped in.
No, I was just when I try and play small-sided games, sometimes like you were talking about the 11 on 11, I get people saying this isn't realistic. You go, well, it is actually, because in a game there's with a pitch with 100 by 50, there's 22 of you on it, but you're not that close to each other. There's only that little 3 or 4 in your group that you've got to get through, and then you can move the ball onto another group. And it's quite when you try and explain it to these guys who've always played 11 on 11 and 3-4-3 and 2-4-4 and stuff like that. It's we get there.
I mean, those two bits I just mentioned over there are solutions, aren't they? Okay, so here is a solution to try to get the other team not to score. So we're going to mark like this. Okay. I don't know. I'm always thinking, can anybody else think of a way to do this, either more effectively or a different way? Do we understand what we're doing, or we're just copying a pattern because Barcelona plays that way, so we like to play that way? So I was talking with a group of coaches in South America, and what we normally do is we get together every couple of weeks and we watch a few clips from rugby mainly, and we tend to play spot the difference. So we will look up games or different clips of the same league, and we actually try to find differences on how people are trying to attack or defend or try to maximize their transitions. And I tell you what, it gets harder every time. because people are playing the same way and trying to beat defenders or stop attackers or transition in very, very similar ways. Okay, it's just copying and pasting everything they see. So yeah, I think it's a good shout, John. John, thanks for that. Anyone else? Anyone else? I'll show you another one. It's a bit tricky, this one. It's not a great photo, but basically there's no fence. It's just a gate. Okay, it's a bunch of sheep. What do you reckon? What comes to your head? What makes you laugh, Ben?
It's very much like the escalator and the stairs before. On the first one where there was no piano running at the left-hand side, people were walking past the empty stairs to join a queue for the escalator. But as soon as the piano was introduced, people were stopping and actually going back to the piano because they were going, well, it was that incentive, that in curiosity. What is this? It would only take one sheep to step out a different way, and I'm sure many of the others would go, oh, hang on, what's happening here? Just going back to the last point there, I think that the challenge for coaches is being brave. A lot of coaches that I speak to, it's not necessarily an understanding thing. It's being brave enough to say, actually, I haven't got all the answers. I haven't got all the solutions. Here's a problem. Let's explore it together and see what we come up with. And when someone comes up with something different, going, all right, okay, I haven't thought of that way. Or so if you go onto the slide they're on there with the sheep, if one of your players goes a different direction, are you brave enough to go, well, let's explore that and see where that takes us? Or do you go, no, you have to go through the gate because everyone else does? We have to play through at the backs, everyone else does. We have to attack through the middle of the pitch because everyone else does. Are you brave enough to go, well, go on, you've got something different, let's try it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why do you think, or what do you guys think? Does that come down to status, you think? Because I'm the expert and I know more about the game, and then hence why you should be listening and I'm going to tell you what to do. Does it come down to that, or I don't know?
The perspective of what the coach is as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be brave.
You've got to be brave to say no. Tells you what you need to know.
Sorry.
Yeah. Fair point, man. Go on, John.
You've got to be brave to do nothing, because there's days when I've stood and watched for half an hour, and then somebody's come across and said, "Well, you didn't say much." I said, "But you were sorting it out yourselves. You've sorted out your teams. You've sorted out the problem. You realised that you were conceding because of this. You realising that their best player was drifting into space and nobody was marking him, and you sorted it out. You don't need me to come and tell you that every 2 minutes. Blow the whistle, call everybody in, and say, right, this is what's happening." You just do it when it starts falling apart. You just blow the whistle, come in, and I always start with, "So what do you want to talk about?" I never say, "Right, I've called you in to do this." Or to talk about this. See what they worked out. And it took a bit of time to get people used to it, but now I think we get so many more comments, so many more people join in with their opinions, which is brilliant. Firstly there was 2 or 3 would jump in, and then I had quiet words with some of the guys and said, "Look, try to be number 2 or number 3 into the conversation. Let's see if we can get some others to."
Absolutely.
And you don't say anything. You say, "Please, let somebody else go first. See if you can come in as number 3 or number 4 or a summarizer." And it really does provoke some good conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge for us to speak less, to not speak last as well. So, I mean, typical scenario would be halftime. If your sports score halftime, so quarter, whatever it is. All right, so you tell me what you think. All right, cool. Now go and do this. Okay, so last thing, you make sure you have this in your head before you go back on the court, on the pitch, or whatever it is. But yeah, I see it all the time. And going back to Ben's reflection before, and I did challenge it a little bit, because I think it's 100% due to connecting with ego. And I think us male, I think it takes us longer to try to, I mean, I don't like the expression, but try to get to the same level. Okay, and I'm generalizing, obviously. I think I've seen loads of female coaches that are miles away from at least where I was at the times, in terms of just sort of connecting with their athletes and trying to get the best out of them. And something that you made me think about, Ben, is that practice where everything goes well and I'm really happy with my practice, and I'm getting into the car and I feel like Tracy Neville, I feel like Ian Foster, or I feel like Pep Guardiola. And they should give me a ring because I'm really good, so I should go and help them out. Yeah, well, those sorts of practices are usually terrible practices, because we've laid out every single solution, we've solved every single problem, nobody has dropped the ball, nobody has missed a shot, and nobody has missed a tackle. So we are the best coaches in the world. Pat in the back, let's get in the car and tell everybody about it, about the perfect practice we just had. I'm being cynical again. You got to stop me when I'm being cynical. You got to stop me. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. This one. I'm going to show you one more. So this is Michael Guerra. He's obviously a cyclist in the European circuit. Just have a look. Just have a look.
I've seen this one. I don't need to see this one.
You've seen this one, John. You've seen this one.
Yeah, I can see it. This one. I didn't see the golf one, but I know. I know.
Bet John has been cycling down.
Seen this.
Douglas.
No, John's been falling off his motorbike recently.
So there you go. I mean, we talked about creativity a lot. We talked about players trying things, allowing them to try things. And we talked about people making mistakes and letting them make mistakes. We talked about efficiency, obviously cycling. Is anyone in cycling by any chance? The cycling coaches in the crew. Well,
not to that level.
I'm 100% convinced that Michael is saving lots of energy at this moment in time. And it's a bit like I was trying to say before. I mean, people tend to copy us all the time. And instead of trying to do their own thing, people just copy us for the sake of copying. And sometimes the people that copy us, they don't actually need to copy us, like this bloke in the motorbike. And I'm 100% convinced this bloke has followed his bikes loads of times, trying to match his reps with his steps. I've got no doubt he's absolutely smashed himself loads of times. Yeah, but now we see loads of people in the circuit actually attempted that maneuver that's been popularized as a Superman. So bit of resources for you there. Again, I'll send you all these bits on the email, so don't panic if you don't get them now. There you go. I believe most of you will be on the Facebook group. So I'm on the Facebook group already. So if you can get in touch, that's probably the easiest way to do it. That's everything to do with social media and stuff like that. If you could give the program ourselves and Advanced Sports obviously a shout, that'd be fantastic. And obviously if we can keep adding people to these conversations, I think it's just in the best interest of our athletes and our people that are investing all their time in coaching as well. So that's my go-to sort of quote. I always get it on. And I think it's got to do with just stop wishing people good luck when we're trying to develop, and let's actually do something about it. And I think doing that something about it will obviously bring lots of opportunities as well. So I'm conscious about time. I'm conscious about being Thursday night. You've all been very good. Nobody cracked open a beer or had a glass of wine on the side, which you're more than welcome to do in these conversations. Hopefully you haven't been holding back. Anybody wants to share some final thoughts, some reflections? Anybody that's going through your heads right now? Please don't keep it. Let's share it. Over to you. Who's gonna give us the final blessing?
I'm going out coaching now. I was supposed to be there at 8, but I've told them to warm up themselves.
There you go. There you go. It'd be a good scenario for you to turn up late and see what they've been
Yeah.
up to.
Oh, I know what they'll do. They'll warm themselves up. They're good boys.
There you go. There you
That's
go.
why we've won. That's why we've won the league for the last 10 years.
John's happy with his success criteria, winning the league. There you go.
No, but we just wrote. We roll through. I've got 16-year-olds playing, and it's great. And I've got 40-year-olds playing, and they all play together, and they're all happy about it. And it's a good dynamic I've got in the gang at the moment.
Cool. Fantastic, John. Sounds like an appealing environment to be involved with.
It's outside Trevor's office.
There you go. Get Trevor there. Anyone else? Anyone else? Some final thoughts, some reflections, questions, observations, quotes. I'm running out of synonyms. Come on. Come on, Trev. What's next then? We go over to your admin. I know you're a big admin man. Open your mic, mate. Open your mic.
Yeah, it kicked me out there, sorry, and kicked me back in again. So I lost you for a minute. But
you're back. You're back.
It's been fantastic, Juan. Thank you very much for a really engaging talk tonight and getting everyone involved. Really excited to get on to our next one as well and learn even more. And I think it's brilliant to see your passion for creating fantastic environments for your participants, and I think hopefully the coaches have been given a flavour of your philosophy, and hopefully it might be something that they connect with, that might resonate with them, and it might be something that we all might go away after this tonight and think, well, what can we do differently? What might we take from Juan's talk tonight, and how can we implement something, maybe one, maybe two things that might help give our participants an even better experience. So thank you very much, Juan. That was fantastic.
Cool, mate. You've been frozen throughout your entire final speech, which has been hilarious. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's just me or what, but you've been frozen there. By the way, I'm going to leave you with a little task for you to go and Google Manu Ginobili. He's an NBA player, played for San Antonio Spurs for about 15 years, and he's the spitting image of Trevor Christian. All right, so please go and Google him, because I think they're twins. I think they're actually twins. So I'm going to leave you with that task. There you go. Trev, everyone, thank you so much. Absolutely fantastic. We're getting to the nitty-gritty of the learning and feedback process when we meet again on the 7th of December, 7 p.m. UK time. It'll be great to have a nice conversation. In the meantime, hopefully you'll know where to find us, and you get some details from Trevor about how we're going to share the resources. And yeah, look out for the email. Look out for the email as well. A shout on social media would be awesome. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Cheers. Bye now.
Cheers. Bye.